Good afternoon. So today we are with Kevin Koborg from MYP Online Marketing. MYP holds the Mauritius Yellow Pages trademark. So Kevin, great to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about your business, what it is you do?
Well, we are an ICT company and we specialize in application development for business and marketing. And of course, Yellow Pages is a very good example of that.
That's fantastic, Kevin. So can you tell me, how did you find yourself in the ICT sector? Was there any specific event that prompted you in that direction, or something that made you feel the need to bring the Yellow Pages trademark back to Mauritius?
Well, Candice, it is a long story, but let me try to make it short. I came to Mauritius about 20 years ago to set up a first eco-adventure tour operator. And as an eco-operator, you need to consider the environment. So instead of producing brochures, printed brochures, we created a website. And that was in 1999. In 2003, with two other Mauritians, we started the first online booking platform in Mauritius. And from there on, it's been escalating a little bit with more digital, like making the first interactive CD-ROM for tourism in Mauritius. And people started to ask me if I could help them with their digital graphic, their website. So with my webmaster, we decided to set up a separate company. So now I was really into also web development. But in 2010, we bought some digital assets from another company, which included the Mauritius Yellow Pages. And in 2014, when we realized we could get the brand, the trademark back from Singapore for Mauritius Yellow Pages, we decided to create MYP Online Marketing. And that was to create a new generation of, let's say, business directory to become a local online marketplace. That's the best way I can try to tell you that. So that was a bit of the vision.
That's a great story. Thanks, Kevin. So would you say that there is somebody in the ICT sector that you look up to? Perhaps there's somebody that you take a lot of their advice or you've learned a lot from?
Yeah, I would say that I don't have somebody specific. There is a number of people that are in the business world that I find very interesting, such as Steve Jobs, Richard Branson. Those two come to mind because they are like disruptors, change makers, and I'm kind of that. They were also pioneers, and I was a bit of a pioneer both in the tourism industry but also in ICT. The reason why I can say that is because when I started in Mauritius, there was only a 54K dial-up modem. Wow. And now we have fiber optic.
Yes.
So I look at these people that they have like not always completed a formal education like university, but they still succeed in their business. And these kind of things I feel inspirational. And then I look for that and see how did they do it.
Awesome. So somebody that's put their mind to something to achieve it.
Yeah. Never give up. Keep fighting. Right?
Awesome. Great. So you mentioned that you've lived here for almost 20 years. As a Danish foreigner coming into Mauritius, were there any challenges that you faced? Was it difficult, or did you find it quite a seamless transition?
I think that's a very good question you're putting forward there, because I think a lot of people that comes from abroad, we call expat, they will naturally run into some kind of challenge. Maybe the language, it may be the culture. It can also be like, for me, it was a lot about how people do business and the legislation. So that was quite a thing for me to battle through. But Mauritius, like I said, is a wonderful place. You have a great opportunity. The development is going fast. So everything moves quite good. So for me, as a Dane, coming from what they call an industry country, West, come to a developing country, it was a bit of a struggle. But quickly I saw how Mauritius really just develops, becoming better. And I can understand why people look at Mauritius as a role model for many African countries.
Yes, yeah. And the development is just crazy. You just look everywhere, things are growing and there's building happening, and it's just really exciting time for Mauritius.
It is.
So this past year has been particularly difficult for a lot of small businesses, and many businesses haven't survived, especially with long lockdowns. What is MYP online marketing done differently to ensure its resilience over this time?
Well, I would not say we have done something differently, because my philosophy, and in the ICT sector, we were able to let our staff work from home. So we have already had a number of staff working from home, from programmers to editorial. And it's nice for them, especially the women. They don't have to worry about, they have to travel for 1 hour and go back again and film the children, etc. So that was not an issue. Of course, working from home, you suddenly have your children and your husband at home. They may be, but that was more for them. But I feel our staff was very supportive and understood how it needs to be. And then what we did to, let's say, financially not put ourselves in trouble, was that we decided to defer our development of Yellow Pages, the third version, which is going to have an e-commerce and an e-service in there, plus a payment solution. So that we have deferred. And another project that we're going to start up, which was the event platform, is going to also not come out before 2022.
Okay, it's great. So just adjusting your plan to fit with the situation.
Yes, actually. And then, like, we were lucky with the staff already used to work from home.
So how socially conscious would you say your business is? Do you have any regular sustainability practices in the day-to-day running of your business? Do you take the environment? You've mentioned that you came in initially working for an ecotourism company. Is the environment important to the way that you run your business?
Yeah, ICT is a little bit a contradiction to ecotourism, because we leave a carbon footprint. We cannot ignore that. And it's very difficult to change that. Electricity, equipment. We do very little paper already, so that's not really things with the environment. But we actually looked at being more social conscious in terms of the population, giving back to the community. And for that, we have joined and teamed up with a company, an NGO, that's called Purple Line, that supports disadvantaged youth to empower them into employment or as an entrepreneur. And with them, we are working very much on trying to help them. We have put up a digital quarter. So there's going to be trying to teach people, the young people, seeing if they have the skills in the ICT, graphic, anything like this. And on top of that, Yellow Pages are planning to change their subscription fee to a donation fee that goes to that NGO.
That's fantastic. So wonderful to be involved in the community and give back. I think there's a lot of young people that probably have such an aptitude for different aspects of the ICT sector, and yet they don't have the ability, or they don't really know even where to start. So to be able to be involved in something like that is so invaluable. So as a startup or an SME, marketing can be quite a daunting task. You're not really sure where to start. Obviously, you're a marketing firm. Do you have any advice for people, or sort of tips that they can look at when starting to market their small business?
Yeah. I always try to say to companies, especially startups and entrepreneurs that's like moving in to become their own business, offering a service, and look for the free opportunities you have online first and foremost. So of course, Yellow Pages have its free listing, the classic one. So why not sign up to that? But you also have social media, you have Google My Business, and you should look at those. Of course, you have to think about what business you're into and what is your audience. So if you are offering, for example, any kind of business services, you most likely should look at LinkedIn. If you're an artist, you should look at maybe Instagram, Pinterest, or YouTube. So that's why you have to think about that and spend the energy on that. And as you're generating revenue, then you can start to invest in your marketing, advertising, can be social media advertising, Google AdWords, and maybe build some landing pages to start with, so it doesn't become too expensive. And then when you really feel now I have the budget for it, then you develop a website. And if you're a retailer, for example, then you would consider going and making an e-commerce website, which can be quite expensive. So then consider using these other e-marketers out there. And this is what Yellow Pages also plan to do, to provide an e-market so that it's easier for retailers to sell online. Okay,
and it's affordable, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Much more affordable options. Yeah. Some great points there. Thanks for sharing. So do you have any, you've given us a lot of advice already. Do you have any other advice for business owners, particularly maybe entrepreneurs just heading into that journey or starting up their own business?
Of course, you have a business idea. But you need to understand the market, your competition. So a business plan is very, very important. A business plan also includes accounting, budget. So I think beside having a business plan, get an accountant on board. He can help you to structure your finance so you don't just spend left and right. And make sure that you have the budget as you get revenue. And then you can start to invest in the very areas you want to. But one thing that is also important, and there's something that a lot of merchants does, they become an octopus. They simply just want to branch out everywhere where they feel there's opportunities or where there's money to be earned. Just try to focus, put your objective, go for that. And as you then earn more money, then you can start to branch out.
That's fantastic advice. I think that's so true. You know, do one thing and do it well, as opposed to doing 5 things relatively okay.
Yeah.
It makes much more sense. That's really great advice. Thank you for sharing that. So as we end off, is there any mantra, quote, or saying that you live by, something you'd like to share with us?
Well, Candice, I think it's a little bit like role models. I don't really have one specific that I really feel I can share or I can use in my company. I do it more like from the diving industry. I used to be a dive instructor. And doing an open water course, you learn about how to deal with problems in difficult situations. And in there, we have 3 words that we tell everybody. Stop, think, and then act. Which means that in your business, you can be in a stressful situation, you can be in a complicated situation like with the pandemic, but stop up, don't just run through, just stop up, evaluate, think, and then take action accordingly. So that's one of them. The second one comes also from the diving industry, but it's more for marketing. And it's attitude attracts attention. Now, attitude, and generally people look at it as a bad attitude. I look at it differently, because if you have the right attitude towards your employees, your business, your clients, your competitors, it will attract attention.
Absolutely.
And that means if you can get that attention, you don't have to spend too much money on marketing. So it's more like word of mouth and doing things right.
Oh, fantastic. And if people are happy with your services, they are going to recommend you, which is the ideal, I think. Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been great chatting to you. Thank you for all the great insights you shared with us. And I'm sure we've all got something to think about.
Well, thank you for having me, Candice. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.